Hello and welcome back to SharePoint Charts Complete Training. In this session we're going to learn how to do pictograms. A pictogram is simply a horizontal bar chart in which we use pictures instead of using bars. It's a more creative way to do a bar chart. Let's go ahead and jump in. So here's our training section on pictograms. Right away you can see a fun looking bar chart and you can immediately understand the concept. Instead of bars, we're showing a icon picture which is representing our data. So this is obviously just some dummy data. We're going to go ahead and create a chart for ourselves corresponding to some data that we already did in a previous session. So go ahead and click this link to open the pictogram template to have that ready, and then go ahead and open your SharePoint Charts training site that we've been working in. And for this chart, we're going to need to create a new list. We're going to just go ahead and do that ourselves this time. And what we're going to do is take the data that we used for the pie chart, which was Wives Industries category sales. I want you to look at that data. That was a single row of data. We're going to make an equivalent list and do it where there's a single row for each point of data. So keep this handy, and we're going to create an additional list. So go ahead and duplicate your browser tab at this point. Go to your site contents, and let's go ahead and create a new list. So just select blank list, and I'm just going to call it category sales. And whoops, I already have something for that. So I'll just call this category sales pictogram. Okay, there we go. Uncheck show in site navigation. And well, I had a typo in my name. Let me go ahead and delete that list. I'm going to make another list. So I'll go to site contents. Delete. Let's try that again. New list, blank list, category, sales, pictogram. There we go. Uncheck show in site navigation. There we go. And then I'm going to grab this URL so I can have a handy link to it. So I'm going to go to my home page and I'm going to edit. We'll make a new quick link. And we'll just call this pictogram. So I'll delete all of that. And let's pick an icon. Kind of pick whatever you want here. I don't have a picture of an apple. I'm just picking a smiley face. It's fine. I'll click on the link. I'll move it down to the end and republish. So now we've got a handy link. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create a couple of columns for this. So let's go ahead and add a column which is going to hold the category, and then another column which will hold the value. So we'll go ahead and do add column. And we'll make this text. Click next. Call it category. That's fine. And just hit save. And then we'll make another column and call it sales. So this one's going to be a number. Next. Call it sales. And for decimal places, I happen to know this doesn't have any decimal places, so I'll put 0. And that's fine. We'll just go with that. And I don't need the title field for this, so I'm going to go to the list settings, and I'm going to set title as not required. We don't need that in our data. Hit OK. I'll go to advanced settings. I want to make sure we're using the modern list view, so I'm going to select a new experience. Then I can go back, and I'm going to hide that title field. I don't need to see that. And let's do edit grid view. Let's go ahead and put our categories in. So it was electronics, software, then services. Software, services, then furniture, subscriptions, appliances. The last one was supplies. All right, and then I got to put in those values. So 23,700, then 19,500, $28,700, $17,500, $12,300, $14,900, $13,400. And exit grid view. All right, we've got our data all set up and ready to go, so that wasn't too bad. So this is how we needed our data to make this particular kind of chart, the pictogram that we're getting ready to do. Okay, so let's hop over here and take a look at what we've got. As with all of them, the charting templates, you should check out the different theme options to give you an idea of the range of different look and feel options you could go with for these. So just like the other trainings, I'm going to stick with our theme 1 option. And then, of course, we need to make sure we have our fields in here. So we have 3 fields. 2 are in our SharePoint list, and then also we need to have an icon field. I missed that. Sorry about that. I forgot the icon. We'll do that next. So it says add a text field for an emoji icon. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to come over to my list. I can close that other list I was working on. I need one more. I'm going to call this column emoji. Why not? So now, it doesn't mean we have to do smiley faces and things like that. It just is a type of graphic that we can use. There's all kinds of different objects and things, as you'll see in a second. So it said you can just have a regular text field. So that's what I've got. I'll hit save. And then now I've got an emoji. Now, what I want to do is find those. And in the charting template, it provides you a link. You can find these in a lot of different websites, but this is a good one to search. It has a little search box. And I've already done some searching to find some things I want for these categories. So I could do something like computer, click on that, and you literally can just copy and paste. Okay, so for example, I can use this one for electronics. So I can just go edit and grid view and paste. So it looks teeny tiny here, but it's not going to look that way on our chart. And just to speed things up, I already did find some icons I want to use for my categories. You can use whatever you want. And so for your training, just find ones that you like. So I've got a disk icon for that one. I chose a telephone one for the next. Furniture, I found a chair. And then subscriptions, I found a picture of a newspaper for that one. And it's just like copying and pasting text. That's really the same concept in terms of what's stored. So you can literally just copy and paste those emoji icons in here. It will work just fine. Then I've got a box for supplies. So exit grid view, and there we go. We've got our icons loaded. Okay, now we're ready. So feel free to dig around. You can use this search box. I like this site. There's lots of sites that have these icons in them, and there are, I think, more than 1,000 choices. I don't know how many total there are these days, but there are thousands. So I'm sure you can find pictures that can correspond to categories, as in this case. Okay, so let me come back over here, and I need to fill in the fields. So the label is called category. It's the name of the field. Typo. The number field is sales. And then I called that icon column emoji. There we go. And I need to provide a range for my data, otherwise this chart's not going to work the way we expect. So I need to look at this data and figure out what's going to be a good range. So it looks like my high value is near 29,000, so probably 30,000 would be a good high end. And then my low, I'm just going to go ahead with 0. So we'll say 0 to 30,000. There we go. And I'm going to turn off background gradient for training, but you can load those. There's a link to that where you can load those images in your site if you want to. It just means I'm going to go with a solid background color. So let's go ahead and copy the template and see if we're off and running with an initial template. Let me go ahead and save the view, and I'm going to go ahead and call this Pictogram. I always like to have a view where I'm working with the data and another that holds the actual chart template. So I'm going to go ahead and do Format Current View, Advanced Mode, and then Select All, Paste, and Save. There we go. Okay, looking pretty good right out of the gate. So we've got our scale. I don't want it to say My Chart Title. That looks silly. So let's go ahead and correct that. And we'll say Category Sales. Copy the template, and then go ahead and go down here and select all, paste, and save. And that's saved. And then I'm going to make some other adjustments. I'd like this to fill the page a little bit more, so let's go ahead and make it a little bit taller and a little bit wider. So those settings are in the canvas width, so I can make that 1100, and then I can make the row height a little bit bigger. That'll make my overall chart bigger. So let me copy the template and paste it over here and save. And then that's going to go ahead and fill up the page a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Your smoothie, sorry.
And then we'll go ahead and make that adjustment. Okay, so this is basically just showing a picture representation of this bar chart. And let's talk about other settings that are available in the template. So I can do things like adjust the label. That's on the left-hand side. You can optionally turn the grid on or off, the scale and the grid. So you can make little tweaks and adjustments according to the look and feel that you want for your specific chart. I can make adjustments to the font size. One thing that's especially handy is you can think about the icon size. So if you want a larger icon size, you can make adjustments like that, and it'll just fill the space a bit more. So I can do copy, and then I can do format the current view, and there we go. So that just fills up the space better. So I think some people might look at a pictogram and think, they want to be serious because it's business-related data. But really, charting is all about doing things in a visually interesting way. And certainly this is going to be eye-catching and interesting. And the setup for this really wasn't too difficult. The only work that you have to do is just go to the site that I reference and just look for a picture that loosely is equivalent to this category that you're charting. So that is pretty much everything that you need to cover to work on the pictogram charting template. Again, this is a bar chart. It's a horizontal bar chart. You can work with that same type of data, and it's visualizing those categories into pictures. So it's fun to set up. You don't have to go doing a lot of digging to find images that are going to work. And then not only that, you can scale those images to make them fit well on the page just by using the settings in the chart template. So next time you have a chart that you need to do and you know you're going to have bar chart data like we used in this one, you might stop and think, especially in a case where there's not a huge amount of rows of data, you could show that in a lot more interesting way by using the pictogram template instead, or in addition to the bar chart that you may have already set up. So I hope you found that interesting, and I hope you get to do a cool pictogram in your SharePoint site, and good luck!